Yeah. They go for the formula. Other people's houses are about they use this. Yeah. But I mean, I had mine, there it is. That's me. And I don't have, well, I don't have two arms, but it actually worked. Wow, that's very good. Yeah. But then you can do a lot of. But first, you see, you had. I think I did. So, yeah. All over. I think that's like, yeah. I think that's a problem. Oh, I got this thing. No matter what you do.
Hey, Kim Barons.
Hello.
And then the something. Now I have no.
Yeah. Stay inside. They did.
I was just gonna ask if anybody wanted to.
Are you worried about?
I told him.
I can forget if I get a place close. Are they having school?
There's chairs up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna take you to ask if you want me to. Whatever you.
Oh, they should have.
Peace out.
Roll call. Do you want to just have each wherever we go around introduce themselves? How's that probably best? Yeah.
I did have people sign in as well, just in case for the record. I'm gonna have you and Scott do that, if that's okay.
Well,
And I just, you can do it later, we can do it later since it's getting close.
Where else? Yeah. Yep. Zoom in. Yep. Just deleted it. I'll fix it again here.
Got it.
All right, bud. The meeting at 6.
you ready, Scott?
I am. I will. We're gonna pledge first. Yep.
Just on a ticket.
For be it here.
Okay, if everybody was standing, please, we'll do the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. I'm glad to see the crowd we have here tonight. Kind of an unusual. I am Gene Miners, Carroll County Chairman and also the chair of the board. So I'd be also the chair of this here board tonight. For roll call, I think we're going to go around and we'll do the introductions. And so that they can keep track of the roll call. Scott, you want to do it?
County Supervisor. Vice Chair.
Sarah?
Sarah Harold, Carroll County Assessor. And Maddie Jacobson, I'm the Chief Deputy Assessor.
Mike Anderson, County Supervisor.
Stephanie Halton, County Supervisor.
But she started here.
That's the truth.
Hands over Mayor Coon Rapids. And Mayor.
Why is that so full?
Continue some water. Yes, sir.
Jenny Hanlon, Mayor Waybro.
Outside of Mayor Deb.
Oh, but he should still introduce himself. Okay, those in back, they're back here. Well, yeah, you need to introduce yourself. Okay. Okay, thank you, everybody. And then, so that takes care of the roll call. Scott here will be running the camera also, our cameraman. So, next thing on the agenda is
Is there anybody online?
oh, yeah, that's right. We need to, who's online? Would you pipe up and introduce yourself? And what section you're representing?
Ken Barron's Templeton Mayor.
Ken Barron's thing lit up, but Ken, turn your mic on.
I think I got it on.
Instead, there's Ken Barron's and Alex.
Should be on.
Okay,
Is it on?
Ken Barron's is on, and who else?
Ken Barron's is mayor of Templeton.
Yeah,
Alex Foley, it said.
And who, is that a mayor or school board?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
is that the only 200 then?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
This is Alex Foley, citizen of Carroll.
okay, who's on the cell phone? Could you introduce yourself?
I'm not showing anybody else or participants, but
The person on the cell phone, could you introduce yourself, please? Okay, he wants to be anonymous, I guess. All right,
I show 9 mayors and 4 school boards. And Jerry Fletcher one meeting. Everybody knows he's going to be a couple minutes late.
okay, next item on the agenda is approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? If not, we need a motion to approve the agenda. Okay, the supervisors move to approve the agenda. Is there a second? Mayor's a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next we have is approval of July 8th, 2025 meeting minutes. Those were in your packet. Is there a motion? School board's motion. Is there a second? Okay, the mayor seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, next is a conflict of interest disclosure policy. I will tell you that I did reach out to the county attorney and we had a discussion on this. There's nothing binding that you have to sign this according legally. He said, as far as the board here, anytime when you have a conflict, you should announce that prior to the discussion and the vote and abstain from voting. But he said there's nothing in the code. He went through it to me. And so I don't think there's a need for it. It's up to you, but I will not be signing one because the other thing is we talked about everyone that's in here is also elected official that represent the people, their peers that put them on this board. So if there's a conflict, the only time there'd probably be a conflict is if we were appointing a person on a board of review. And if you had some litigation that's going to be reported, be before the board of review, then there would probably be a conflict. But as long as there's no personal gain, you're acting as behalf of the taxpayer. And as we said, all of us here are taxpayers. We don't like to pay taxes, so that could be a conflict too. So if there's any other discussion on that, or anybody else got anything to talk about?
Sir, do you want to explain why you put it on here?
So the one that I sent out for people to sign, that was actually a recommendation from somebody on this board. I did reach out to legal counsel, and legal counsel did suggest that we should adopt a policy if you guys so choose, and that is why I sent the additional policy. It's already protected by Iowa code, so you don't necessarily have to adopt the policy. It's just something that if you do adopt it as a policy, you bring it back every year and just kind of reiterates and reminds people before the meeting. So ultimately, it's up to you.
So is this above and beyond the state statute for conflict of interest? Is this an addition to with different verbiage? Because I didn't look at that. I thought if we're covered under a statute, is this more stringent language?
No, it's the same. It's just a reminder, according to the attorney.
I think the general practice is if there's a motion and you need to abstain, you abstain. If there's a conflict versus signing the form is, yeah. So is anybody gonna sign it where we need to collect those or, okay.
Those are voluntary, so no need.
So, okay, so we'll move on to then, is that what the vote on policy is?
So vote be if you guys wanted to adopt it, so
Okay.
that way it was something people could have every time we have a meeting. Yeah. You.
Is there a motion to add that to the policy? Lack of a motion? Policy dies. Okay, item number 8, Iowa Code Chapter 21 and HF 706 refresher. There.
Third, you make note, we have one more mayor here now.
I do apologize, Jerry.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, yes, Gary Schlaffer, Carroll Mayor. What's that? You get all the packet? I'll pay for the packet. So I have it on my computer, but.
It's on.
Is it on?
It just doesn't light up, but it's on.
So just a quick refresher, that things did change with the legislation regarding open meeting laws. Although we have a lot of training in open meetings, we are not experts, so always refer to IPIB, which is the Iowa
Public information.
Public Information Board. I do apologize. And it is recommended that all people do take this open meetings course. If you are a new public official, newly elected, I will be reaching out to you if I haven't already, asking for your certificate, because we do need to make sure that those are taken. That was signed into law. I believe it was effective July 1 of 2025. So like I said, if you're newly elected and you haven't heard from me, I will be asking for those certificates. And then,
Sarah, can I add?
Yep.
And that train is available next Tuesday night out at
Region 12.
Region 12. But I
At
think
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, but you need to let them make a reservation. And it is free. Some places it's not free. There, save your pocketbooks.
Tuesday the 27th.
Yep.
Okay.
6 o'clock.
So with this open meetings law, it ensures that the government decisions, just actions, everything is in the front of the public. We're trying to show public accountability, open, and just create that trust. So basically, what is a meeting for the conference board? Obviously, this is a big board here, right? But for a quorum, there's only 4 people necessary. So even though we have all these voting bodies, a quorum is 4 people. So it's nice to see such a high attendance tonight. And then just a reminder that any deliberation or matters, they need to happen in those public meetings. And only agenda items can be discussed during the meeting. The only things that can be added are emergency items added in good faith, and this also shows public awareness and trust. I think I touched on this a little bit, see if I missed anything. So just a reminder that anything said here needs to be discussed in the open, all deliberations, no private powwows, anything like that. So I'll give you a minute to read that if you want, sorry.
So when coming up with a vote
Mhm.
between the mayors, when they come up with their one vote, and the school boards, they have to deliberate publicly.
Yes, it has to be recorded in the minutes. Who voted what? And all deliberations, yeah.
I mean, I see the supervisors because we're a quorum anywhere in public, but I didn't know about the mayors
Yeah,
and
so
the school board.
Do you have any more questions on that?
So I understand this, if there's not just a consensus here, we're gonna break off, the mayor's left to get together for their one vote, correct?
No. So there would need to be some sort of motion, and then we would do a roll call for the mayor.
Gotcha.
And then the majority would have the vote.
So that we can't sit here and talk about this as far as trying to figure out if we're gonna be in favor or opposed to the.
They
this
could
is
probably,
gonna be
they
a-
can discuss in public, right?
It has to be discussed publicly, so that way the public, news media, people in the back, anybody can hear it.
It's just the only thing different, you can't break off and go in different spots in the corners or whatever. You're supposed to do it here.
Yeah, and
We
it's
have
a-
done before.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking the question, so.
Well, to me,
It's a-
the mayors, no matter if I don't care if there's 13 of you or 2 of you, you're not a quorum in my eyes. We are the supervisors because anywhere in public, we are a voting block, but I question, I'm gonna ask the question Tuesday night as far as, does it apply to the mayors and to the school boards?
I believe in your packet, I did include some information regarding voting units, caucusing privately. This was confirmed by attorney Brett Lingers, because I wanted to double check, because I know that this was something that was discussed in the past and asked in the past about the powwows. But unfortunately, there are big hefty fines for violating open meeting laws. So I want to make sure everybody is aware of those.
I'm just trying to figure this out, because typically, Dean was one of the few people that's still here, we used to have some contentious conversations about wages, and it was like, this group said 3%, this group said 8%, it's kind of hard for us to put something out there without doing this potentially 10 times before you go through and get a roll call. It's like, if there's 8 of us sitting here, it's like, you guys think about 5%? I'll say it right in front of everybody. I mean, whatever it is, I'm not trying to go in the corner and do it, but in the essence of actually getting something done, it seems like we would be better off at least even having an open conversation.
Well, I think you can have an open conversation between all the groups. And then if you want to have your own group have a conversation, you could have your conversation, but it needs to be here.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think way days back, they used to go out in the hallway, one group, one hall, and here, so it wouldn't be probably overhearing, not so much overhearing, but causing noise over that they couldn't discuss it,
Right.
without going over each other's voice. Okay.
Any more questions? Or did I answer that for you?
Good.
Okay. So now I would like to get into what the assessor does. We don't just sit at a computer all day, we're out in the field, we're discovering the property, we list the property, we classify the property, and we value the property, and that is what becomes your assessed value. So when we're discovering property, we're out in the field, we're measuring, getting all the components, we have to be trained for this application. Listing, we have the quantity, quality, everything goes into your assessed value. We have to get all of the correct data. It has to be all education. We've got to know our role to be able to do our job effectively and actively throughout the county. So then when we get all of our listing information, then we have all of our data to put in, and then that's what comes up with your value. So if you've looked on our website, you do see our property record cards. And that is how we come to that real market value from the Iowa Real Property Appraisal Manual. And then your class also comes into that. So we have to classify property, whether it is residential, ag, commercial, that kind of stuff. So we're out in the field and we're trucking away and getting that all done for you guys. When we're doing that, we have to have our fair market value by January 1. And we have to ensure that it is equity countywide, that it's all being done the same way through our education. We're all trained the same way. We're all going out. We're all doing the same thing. Not only are we listing property, but then we also have court cases. We have appeals. We have board of review. We have PAB. We have, which is the Property Assessment Appeals Board. We have district court. So there's a lot of legalities. There's a lot of everything that we're doing inside the office behind the scenes as well. Another big thing that we do here in the office is we handle credits and exemptions. So like if you live in your home, you own your home, you qualify for a homestead exemption. And in 2023, they came up with the 65 plus. So if you are 65 or older before December 31st, you come apply. So that way you can get it on your assessment roll. But we handle all those things, and it's our duty to verify that they are properly placed and sent to the Board of Supervisors for approval. So each one of these has a different date that it is due by, and then you flip into another year. So like our homestead credits are effective July 1, and our family farm is November 1. So we have to keep all of our dates and what qualifies in line. We get that through our education, through classes. And then if you want to read that list of software that we have to use on a daily basis, there is quite a bit of software involved with this job to make our job equitable, to make sure we are doing everything appropriately and consistently for Carroll County. Another thing is we serve the public. We're answering questions. If somebody comes in and has a question regarding their property, I want to get to the bottom of it. I want to know, my staff wants to know, do we have this listed correctly? Because if we don't, then it creates inequities across the county. So we're happy to talk to taxpayers. We like to talk to taxpayers. We like to make sure everybody's correct. The Code of Iowa does have a minimum requirement for assessors. We do have to have certain educations to even be assessors. We have to pass certain tests. And then throughout our term, we have to complete tested and non-tested hours of education to make sure we are doing our job uniformly and per state code. Obviously, we're here for a budget meeting, so I'm in charge of managing the budget, planning the budget. Every July, we have to turn over our abstract and recon to the state of Iowa, and your abstract and recon deals with your new construction, your revaluation, and how we code things, because that is how the Department of Revenue or Department of Management decides, you know, what is new construction and what is growth and what is revaluation. And that's been really important through House File 718, because that is where we look at our budget. You know, growth has something to do with the percentage on how budgets can change. So when we're inputting our data, that is the data that the Department of Management gets to do the city budgets, to do the school budgets, to do the county budgets. So it is very important work. And more. It could go on all night, honestly, because I get kind of nerdy about assessments, and I apologize. We did have some operational changes in the office here. Previously, we did hire out a company to do our residential appraisals. They averaged about $160 an hour is what we were paying them to do our residential appraisals throughout the county of Carroll. Now we do that here in-house. We did go from 2 people in office to 3. There is, you know, consistency with 2 people. 2 eyes or 4 eyes are better than 2. When you're out in the field, you know, when you're picking up and you're discovering that new construction or discovering somebody took something down, because we also want to make sure we're getting those removals for people. And also safety, and when you're out in the field, having those 2 people, it's definitely safer, and it's actually more efficient because you can get through a house measurements quicker. You can have somebody writing down the data while the other person is taking the measurements. So it actually works more efficient to have 2 people in the field. So we are thankful and happy that we do have a 3rd person in the office. So that way our office is now fully staffed and we can maintain open while we are in the country doing our statutory duties. And I will say that the public was super excited to see people that they actually talked to in office out in the field this year, because I mean, they've seen the country people, but actually knocking on your door, saying, hi, I'm Sarah with the assessor's office and I'm here to appraise your new house. How long you live here? Do you mind if I come in and assess your property? Or do you mind if I do your exterior measurements? And the public's really like that. So I do think that that's really nice for our county to have that. I might have touched on this already. Like I said, I really like assessments. So why local, why in-house? We are a familiar face to the public. They see us where, you know, we had a company come in, they did a great job. I'm not trying to discount them at all. But when they see somebody they can actually talk to in person, they really enjoy that. Like I said, faster, accurate, we're consistent because we are in office working together. And we have our set of standards that we have to follow. And it's just consistent countywide when we're all doing the same thing. And this also creates, when we have appeals, a stronger defensibility because I know the work that was done because this is my office and this is how I've trained them to do it. So our first item, I guess that's my spiel about the assessor's office. And getting now to the budget amendment request, I felt like it was necessary for you guys to understand what we do before we got into the budget. If you didn't already know, in your packets, I do have a proposed budget sheet here. So you guys will refer to that one here. Oh, not proposed, I apologize, amendment sheet, I got the wrong one. I need an actual front. The front, oh, it's stapled up to the front. I've got a lot of papers here, I do apologize. So you'll see this is actually different than what's sent out because I was consistently looking at data, doing sales analysis like we do when we are looking at property sales. So I would first like to state that, oh, sorry.
This is different than what you emailed yesterday?
For the amendment,
Yeah.
yeah, it has an additional,
Was this the right one or the wrong one?
did you get a new packet today?
No.
Oh, yesterday.
New packet first,
Yeah,
I'll grab
thank you.
you.
I'm
For you.
sorry, I marked up the old one.
Mhm.
Does everybody else have the right one?
Well, not everybody printed at home like I did.
That's what I brought mine to.
You
Thank
got
you.
two of them there. Huh? Well, I did the printed version at home.
So this proposed amendment is to align the salaries with the market value of the position, address the difference between our current compensations there, as well as previously when we did health insurance budgets, we budgeted for what we needed. We didn't account for what the office would get. So we're just looking for a budget amendment here to potentially close that market gap. And I do have the data for that market gap here. I would like to compare between starting and ending salaries. If you want to pull that spreadsheet up here, it should be page number 2. When I was hired here, I was hired kind of at a lower rate with my provisional appointment. It was really touched on last year that I was a provisional appointment. Provisional means that I just didn't have the same amount of assessment experience as another person who would have just been fully fledged appointed as an assessor. You have to have 3 years of assessment experience, which would be in your residential or commercial aspects, where Carroll County previously hired a company to do that. So I didn't have the experience per se in the assessment role, but the Department of Revenue gave me my provisional, gave me some things that I needed to do and prove to them over 18 months. I'm happy to say that in November, I believe the Department of Revenue emailed, at then the chair was Scott, and I forwarded to Chair Jean that my provisional appointment ends February 1. So I've passed everything and I've shown the Department of Revenue that I'm qualified to be a full-fledged assessor rather than the full provisional. I mean, I was still an assessor, but without the extra qualifications there. When you look at the starting and ending salaries of the position previously, The predecessor also was a provisional appointment, and it was to my understanding that they started less, but they actually started at the same starting point as their predecessor. So I'm looking to close the market gap because there was a 25% drop in salary when I took on the position due to being provisional. So the amendment here, I did do a couple proposals. I'm looking to kind of close that gap of where we were to where we are now. And that's just some history of how Carroll County has kind of hired those out and where people start and end. And then I did another one on the back here that would explain salary rankings, and I did that by fiscal year here. So when you are looking there, you see the other offices here. I just grabbed a few because I'm trying not to keep you here all night. I apologize. Where you see, you know, Carroll County's population rank is 32nd in the state. If you look at our some of our department heads, they're closer to that 32nd, where the assessor is 75th in the state. And I apologize there. So we're 75th in the state, and it's just looking to close that gap because it's for the position, not the person. When people are hired. If you look down here, if the assessor was paid per population rankings to match other offices in Carroll County, you have one office that is, you know, 23rd rank. The 23rd ranking assessor is at 113,850. If the assessor was paid at, you know, 31st, like another department, the assessor would be at 107,625. If the assessor was paid 32nd, because that is our population rank, the assessor would be paid 106,275. 38 is another department head, which would be 102, and 40th would be 101,473.
So your ask is to go from 85,000 to 109,463.25?
No, I'm not there yet.
Okay.
I would also like to include on this side that there is a breakdown of my actual hourly wage due to my standard hours being 1950. That's just a standard pay. We do 37.5 hours per week. With my current salary being the 85,000, that breaks my hourly pay down to $43.59. Very thankful for that. However, I have put in a lot of overtime away from my family for the county, and I'm happy to do so, but the actual hours I worked from December to December is, you know, for a whole 12 months is $2,379.25 for the hours I recorded. That doesn't include the times that I did not record because I forgot. I got in the mood and I was like, oh, you're gonna take 5 minutes. 3 hours later, I forgot I was working. So that effectively makes my hourly pay $35.73. If my salary included those overtime hours, I would be sitting at $103,710.90. If I was paid for the hours worked. Yeah. Yeah. Out of, yes. Yes, for a salary. At my current salary. Yeah.
Sarah, how do you quantify those hours? Do you have a time clock or?
I do. I implemented a time clock in my office. I think I'm the only office that uses the time clock. Yep.
So those are hours.
They would be remote hours because I have worked at home on these on the weekend.
Are these hours just strictly assessor because you do carry some other hats?
Those are strictly assessor hours at home. I'm not gonna lie, before assessment notices went out, I was up till 4 a.m. one night working on my computer because I noticed an error and I was correcting it. And that was an error from 2020 and not trying to get, but I noticed an error and it was a big one, and I did a lot of analysis and research until 4 a.m. because what I would do for this guy. I think that's all for that slide for now, or I guess this one, unless you have more questions about this, if it's not making. It's a lot of data, so, just wanted to take a break if anybody had any more questions about that or wanted me to go back and touch on anything before I move forward.
Any comments?
No, looks like 8 hours, 8.25 hours a week of.
As being one of the old farts around here, I will say this, I don't think we've ever have made a adjustment in mid-year for any elected or treasurer that I've been here. So I just need that, I want that comment made.
So so there's a third person in the office now?
Yeah.
Would you expect that your hours or your duties would be reduced with that additional third person, that you wouldn't see these overtime hours?
I can only hope, but another part of my presentation is legislation and legislation changes and how that affects the assessor's office as far as workload.
I'm jumping ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I just want to clarify that, with the upcoming legislation, I don't want to try to get too far ahead because I could talk all night, like I said. But with the legislation changing, I do suspect the assessor workload will increase. I'm hoping that this isn't the norm. I'm willing to do this as the norm, but I'm hoping it's not the norm. I don't know how legislation is going to pan out. Like I was talking earlier about the abstract and recon, and how we code things. Everything has changed regarding that, and there's a lot more manual entries that were not that way before. An example being, so say you made an addition on your house, but then you also took down a shed or a barn. So I would have to come in and assess your new construction, and then I'd have to code that as new construction value up, whatever the value it brought your house up to. And then on a separate line, I would have to say you took down the shed was worth this value, and then I have to enter that in as a negative. Because they can't just combine together, even though it's addition and subtraction. It's the way House File 718 changed it. It all has to be manual entry. So everything that was an addition or subtraction, I had to manually enter last year. And we're going to see that going forward. And like I said, looking at legislation, the way that the ag building thing may or may not have, there's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of figuring out, and it probably is going to be a lot of manual entry for a while.
So sir, I have a question on that 129 hours of overtime. Now that you have Maddie full-time and Alex full-time, do you foresee that dropping?
That I was just explaining, I hope that does drop.
How many did your predecessor, how many staff did she have in her office?
She had 3 full-time people until I think May of 23, and then she had 2 part-time field people. But the predecessor did not do brand new residential construction, so they were not going into houses and inspecting the houses. So like when we go into a house, we measure all the exterior, we measure all the real property there, and then we go through, we do a walkthrough. If you let us, people can't deny us, and then we just have to either ask questions at the door, call them if they're okay with us calling them, or we have to assume. And those inspections can take 30 minutes, they can take 2 hours. It just depends on how much we have to remeasure in the house as far as basement finish, not basement finish. Do you have I talk all day on things we have to do. But I was at an inspection for an hour one day.
Okay, repeat what you said the predecessor had for staff prior to this.
So she had, I believe, 3 full-time people until May 23. She had, because then there was a retirement. After the retirement, there was 2 back in the office, and then there was 2 part-time field workers.
Did you expect that part-time field workers?
No, they retired.
Who were the 3 people?
Yeah,
Who was the office?
I could think
So
there
in-
might have been 2 in
in
the
20
part-time.
In 21-22 budget, she had 56,904 for an office manager. 22-23, she had $55,030.36 for office manager. 23-24, she did not have one. 24-25, she did not have one.
I might be wrong, but I would,
Cindy, Judy, and Riley in the office until May of 23, and then there was a retirement, and then there was 2 full-time people. So she had 3 people.
you're going 2 before you, Cindy? Oh, so, okay, no, there's two sin.
Right. So, if she had 2 people full-time, and then effective February to train a person, she had 3 people full-time, and then 1 person retired. So then there was 2 full-time, and then 2 part-time field workers, and then Vanguard at a average of $160 an hour, or a company $160 an hour.
She
Average.
says 2 full-time, and she's including the assessor.
Yeah.
And then when you took this job at 75,000, you've been there about a year and a half, is that about right?
Yep, that'd be it.
Okay, was there any stipulation there were gonna be a big raise when you got all this taken care of or not? Or did you just accept this at 75,000 with the hopes of doing that? Cause those are pretty substantial raises you're looking for there, I guess is what I'm getting at.
It was to my understanding with our conversation last year that we were going to get me the market value, and we were gonna keep working on that, so that's what I'm working on.
I just was checking. Thank you.
Yep. Was there any more questions?
Any other questions on this amendment?
Not at this time, I don't.
What was that?
And the public talk.
Yeah.
Let's turn the mic on and so. Come up here.
All of us are elected officials that know the building inside and out. Is,
You want to introduce yourself?
okay, more. That amendments along kind of what you're inferring are for emergency or unforeseen expenditures. Car breaks down, a pipe breaks, not for salaries.
Any other comments?
Sure, I do. Mayor, just do you feel that, because you are still somewhat new in the position, that some of the overtime incurred may have been a learning curve as far as you learning and understanding position, the system, the changes that were coming down the pipe, that obviously the more tenure that you have, that would also affect the number of hours of overtime or extra hours that you have to put in.
You could see that. I also was familiar with these programs before I took on the job, so I already knew how to run them all.
Not so much the programs themselves, but you know, your responsibilities, I guess I just sometimes think people, as they take on a position and they're learning it, there's always more time and
Right.
not just doing the job, but learning the job appropriately. And that was just my question, if you felt that or if you don't, and that's.
I will say that I've probably dabbled in code a lot more just to make sure it's correct. I feel like. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So from my perspective, I haven't been in the office a huge amount of time, but I've been in the profession for almost 5 years now. From my experience, seeing Sarah work, she handles a lot more than most other assessors due to the size of the office. And that's where I can see most of this overtime coming from since I've been in the office. I'm sure some of the encode, the tax software stuff and transparent values and that kind of stuff was a learning curve, but I've seen Sarah do a fantastic job, especially for someone as new to the position that she's in. And she catches on to things extremely quickly. So when she learns, she reaches out to her resources and she takes really good notes at classes. She makes sure that she has herself covered for when the office needs her. She's ready to cover wherever it needs to be covered. And I believe that since I've been in the office, that most of her hours are not due to her.
Any other comments?
I have a question. Are you an assessor also, or are you you're a deputy, right? Okay.
I have a question too. So as long as, we approve your budgets, like say last year, can you hire deputies or as many people as you want in there? No.
This is, you as the conference board set salaries as well as number of staff within my office or the assessor's office. So you guys are the ones who set how many people we can have and those salaries.
Okay.
At the bottom line of the budget, yeah.
Last year, we approved another assessor, or another
The
deputy.
Deputy, yeah.
And did she make 85% of your salary?
You guys approved up to 85% of my salary.
And full-time, or was it, because she was hired part-time, correct?
Yeah, she was hired part-time at first and then went full-time in December.
And the board approved for the full-time too. We approved
You
the
guys
money.
approved it full-time, yeah,
Okay.
at 85.
Any other questions?
Sarah, since you took over, did you infer any like extra things that you didn't, I guess, see when you were trying to take the position or trying to take over the position? How do I say this nicely? Was there anything that the last person that you felt like they missed, or they were like kind of kicking down the road, and then now you're picking up the slack of it? Do you feel like that's happening?
I might word it a little bit different if that's okay.
Yeah,
So, we used paper cards previously, and I'm moving everything to a digital computer in the field. Not, people make mistakes. It is what it is. But when you have paper cards in the field and you have digital things in office and you don't have all of the data in front of you, you're gonna miss things. I found parcels that didn't have land for 5 years, 4 or 5 years, no value to those 40-acre parcels. I found double assessed buildings. I mean, that stuff happens, it shouldn't happen, but we're trying to correct those. And as we move from paper to digital, we are correcting these as we go. We're getting the inconsistencies taken care of. So when people call me about their assessed values, my first thing is to go to that property record card and say, all right, let's talk about what you have. Okay, do you have 2 60 by 60 you still util? Oh, no, you don't? Do you mind if I come on out and take a peek? Okay, cool. I go out. Okay, I document what's there, and then the next time I can change the valuation, we correct that. And go forward, and then getting all of these cards into the digital age, trying to get them scanned in, trying to get everything moved over to computers. With taking the computer out into the field, it is really nice for the people to sign their homestead credits right when we do a walkthrough. We just did a walkthrough last week, the week before, for a brand new house. While we were there, we said, hey, before we leave, after we're done doing this inspection, do you guys mind signing this homestead form? Oh, you're also 65. Why don't you put your date of birth in there, so that way we can give you that exemption as well. People really like that. It's really slick. They don't have to come to the office. They don't have to print anything off. They sign it, we save it, we print it in the office.
Any other questions? Or do you have something else? Go ahead.
So the salary increase you're looking for is based on, you're asking that something about your Carroll County's at the 32 ranking for population?
Yep.
Okay. How does population, is that the best method to determine how many people are here? How many, doesn't necessarily mean how many properties are here. So, because I've seen these reports before where we've done it on how many parcels, how much valuation, how many people live here, all these different things, and it's, are we lack of a better,
Yeah.
are we spinning this to where, it's, I guess I would look at this going, how many transactions do you do in a year? Or how many entries do you do a year compared to some of, if that data is even there, because like, if this county was full of apartment buildings, there'd be a lot less, homeowners, but we'd have a lot more people, then drive your population count up. This is just an example, so I'm just trying.
I think, like you said, if you had a county where property is continuously rolling over, would make more.
Yeah, I'm just trying.
And the thing is, with the state,
If we're not comparing apples to apples, I don't,
I think when you do all the surveys within the state of Iowa, you never find all surveys are all apple to apple, because there's so many ways to spin stuff.
Because I actually do have parcel count, I do have valuation, and I do have another population. In the assessor profession, if you have a population of 10,000 people or more in a city, the city can elect to have their own assessor. So there's actually 106 assessors in the state of Iowa. So I do also have those calculations on the next ones where we did do that, by population as well as by parcel. And I will say, your parcel count is very important, because those are the amount of assessment notices you're sending out. That's the amount of value you're changing. So those are the amount of appeals you can have. So, we have 2,227 or 22,277 parcels. That's 22,277 appeals I could handle.
And how many did you have last year?
I think I had 46,
46.
and with pending legislation, that is probably gonna go up.
Any other questions? Kate?
Hate to see in the future hiring some part-time help, just that you go out and, like in the past, you've had two that went out and measured, the
Mhm.
agricultural buildings and so on. You think about maybe doing that again in the future, just a little part-time help to
That is-
cut down on your workload?
It would be nice, but ultimately that's up to you guys and that's up to budget constraints, especially with legislation capping it at the potentials of the cappings this year. If you've had any, if you've looked at any of those, it's like a 2 or 4% cap. The assessor's office doesn't have a general fund. The assessor's office doesn't have bonding authority, so our budget's our budget. And it can only grow whatever legislation says. Historically, the assessor's office was able to go up to 67.5 cents per $100,000 of assessed value. But with the legislation, that's gonna probably be capped at what your budget is and then going forward. So if it's not put in the budget now, it probably won't be affordable.
So Sarah, when you, started putting this on digital,
Mhm.
you saying that nothing was digital at all up until then, or were people taking the cards and then there was no use of computers up until when you came here?
There was use of computers. I apologize for that. So our country work was done on paper cards and then transferred to digital. So when you're taking from here to there, you're writing notes here, you're writing notes there, things can get missed. And if you have your parcel open on your computer in front of you, you can put all your notes in that parcel and then you get back to the building and it's all right there. And then you can price from there rather than, okay, I have a book of notes. And then I also have a stack of cards that I need to correlate with this. There's over 150,000 cards up in the assessor's vault that I'm happy to show you that need to be protected and saved forever.
Do you feel like your overtime hours will go down after you get through you say there's corrections and things that are taking place? So after you get through those corrections, will that maybe drop that as well in terms of workload?
I hope so. Like I said, it all depends on legislation, how that plays out in the office as well as with technology.
Sarah, on your amended budget here, you're trying to go through, why do you take, I have a couple of questions here. Why do you take 40,000 out of the annual service at Vanguard? Where it was budgeted for 470 in the original 25-26 budget, now 430, what's the?
Oh, right there. So when we put that 470 and it wasn't supposed to be 470, that was supposed to be allocated to the health insurance. So when we're doing this budget amendment, I need to allocate that back to the health insurance because when we gave the budget to the auditor's office, it was not typed in accurately. I put 470 in the line for Vanguard rather than 430.
But it's supposed to be 430.
It's supposed to be the 430.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the next one was legal court. Why did you remove that?
I removed that because we're going over in a few other items. If you look at the actual years today spent, historically, we have not had to pay for any legal values because we are lucky to have a county attorney that does defend our cases. I think futuristically, we will need some money in legal court because of legislation, which I'm happy to touch on when we get to the actual proposed budget. But the reason that money came out of legal court was due to, I don't see us spending it this year. So it was just reallocated to one where we went over. So like if you look at, I believe, was it mailing? We've already gone over on mailing.
Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah.
So, and I don't even have all my bills yet here for my programming and data processing. Everything was supposed to be submitted last fiscal year for the parcel fabric that we assisted the GIS on. And they gave me bills this year, so we're probably gonna go over on that. So that's why that was reallocated into the budget. Did you say that WB recently went full-time? Yeah, so you added on a full-time, didn't that take away from your workload? I'm hoping so. Right now I'm still working nights and weekends.
So they got a total of 3 full-time right now.
Yep, so deputy went full-time December 15th and got a brand new guy. He started on January 2nd. So getting him all trained up and hopefully it does take some stuff off my plate. Like I said, can't guarantee it. I'm looking at legislation pretty closely this year and what it has in store for the assessor's office.
Okay, are we ready to start act on this amendment? Or is there any further discussion or?
Well, there is, because the on here you have like, I would say a raise going to you, right?
Yep.
Okay, and then, which would change the deputies, but then some of that FICA and IPERS is from that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then your health insurance jumps up quite a bit. Is that from your new hire?
Yeah.
Okay, so that number wouldn't change at all, is what I'm trying to get at.
What do you mean?
Say we didn't amend anything else, that the health insurance has to go up, right? From your new hire?
So the health insurance and one of the wage lines needs to go up 11 or 1,200 bucks because we estimated wrong. It was already approved in the last meeting. It just needs to, it'll still have to have a public hearing there, but it's no tax dollars asked. It's no additional tax asking. It's money that's already there. It's just for formality for the Department of Management. When you adjust those lines, you have to have a budget amendment.
Okay, and
But,
what line-
but
what line-
that line does not give actually any increase in wages.
It wouldn't, no.
Okay.
Not unless you guys vote to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just a cleanup of what you're talking
It's a
about.
cleanup. So we for sure have to do a budget amendment for a cleanup of the calculation of the health insurance and the approved salary. That has already been approved. Like I said, none of this, even if there was an amendment for any salary, there's any additional tax asking. It's no tax asking in addition. And if you look to the right there, the difference in my current salary in 102, if you were to propose that between March 1st and July 1 is $5,666.50. It's on the right-hand side over there.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Any other questions? Okay, do you each group want to talk amongst yourselves or first, or does the supervisor want to go first?
Give everybody $1,800, I can't justify $6.
I can't justify a midterm raise. If we have to do cleanup, I would go along with the amendment of that.
The health insurance.
Health insurance and that clean up that,
Well, money.
This is just the amended. This isn't proposed.
Okay.
This is the amended, not proposed.
Yeah.
Okay.
A mid-year amendment.
Anybody else wanted to have a discussion?
Just listening to, on the radio about the supervisors meeting and so on and so forth and hearing what the raises that you proposed were and so on and so forth. And that's why this kind of seemed a little bit much to me, I guess. But, that's.
And what we did starts July 1. That's fiscal year 27.
27.
Yeah, take a statement.
Sure.
So with my Carroll County starting and ending salaries, you do see that when people leave, they get that outgoing salary. So this was hired at a 25% deficit. So that is why it is such a bigger jump there. And then also your Carroll County office comparison by population rate. If you look at those other positions, they're more in line with their peers.
Yes, I did look at those.
Yeah, so that's why the request is.
But I will also state, Sarah, that those on the elected officials That's by code that we have no change on that. We can't change that.
And you can see is 4 of the 10, have not started at the same wage.
But are they all 25% deficit?
No, they're
Okay,
probably not. No,
I was
yeah.
curious about that.
I have not done the math on that, but 4 of the 10 have actually started less than what the person.
So that has nothing to do with the amendment at this point, unless somebody wants to change salary.
Well, it kind of does. She's asking for a raise and she's.
Yeah, but I
explaining
think,
why that is.
yeah. If you just want to go through a midterm,
As part of this amendment, are we giving her a raise or are we putting the money in the budget if we give her a raise?
part of this amendment, the way she's proposing it is she will be getting also some money at midterm, about to the tune of $5,600. The way you got it figured out.
Yep.
But it'd be going from $85,000 to $102,000 salary for midterm,
But being there's only a couple months left, it's only $5,600.
which, and as the public stated, that's highly unusual. It's never been done. Especially for assessor or elected officials. But otherwise, if the rest of the amendment, we would have to do to correct the health insurance and the error that was made in the salary.
I guess I would be concerned about setting a precedent, being as you say, it's not been done before. You can expect that supervisors quite a bit of blowback when if this were to pass as proposed, I think you'd have an issue.
I will say, I will clarify that has been not any elected officials or assessor. Now, we've had to do some adjustments on the IT once in a while, but that's all. Or, yeah, some of those other professional ones, but
I don't think because it's never happened before, it's a good argument. I mean, I know we're just the city of Halber, but doing amendments is like common practice. I mean, call it what you want, that it's not been an elected official or.
But even on.
That's not.
Yeah, but even in the county, we do not amend a budget unless it's emergency, not salary stuff.
We do it.
Yeah.
I get that.
Just never done a salary.
And I get
I
that.
haven't.
I get that you haven't done a salary thing, but it doesn't, you can't say it's not a good idea.
Thank you, I'm gonna leave myself.
I've ran into spots where with just the city of Halber and other even business things that I've been involved in where, well, we've never done that, so we're not gonna do that. It's a horrible way to manage and conduct business, in my opinion. I've seen it, I've dealt with it.
Yeah.
It actually frustrates me.
Well, it frustrates me is when we have something happen in the county, especially this time of year, and somebody gets something, it goes down that hallway just like wildfire. Everybody knows about it. And we have to eat.
Part of your job. too.
Yeah. Well, that's what, part of my job is to say what I'm saying too.
I understand.
Yeah, and because I've always told people, sometimes I gotta tell you what you don't want to hear too. So, does anybody else want any comments, or does mayors want to discuss it? Or the school boards? I think it seemed like supervisors did all talking over here.
If we decided to increase the deputy wage by whatever it was, to offset her load, I don't understand why we would pay her for the remainder of the year.
Was there a motion to do something, or?
As a supervisor, I would make a motion to, on the amendment, not to raise her salary for the rest of, 25-26, but, amend the changes that we need for the budget in here.
So you're saying health insurance and
Health insurance,
the calculations that were
the
wrong.
calculation that.
Okay. Is there a second to that on the supervisor's part?
Second that.
Okay,
No.
so now,
No,
Oh, but you
But-
can't, because we didn't, we're, yeah.
But we can vote ourselves here first.
We're talking amongst the
We're talking about
supervisors.
ourselves publicly.
Yeah, we're talking amongst the supervisors.
Yeah. So,
Motion second,
yeah,
I think.
so we can do the vote. Stephanie,
yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So the supervisors have made, what's that?
His proposal was.
Amend the health insurance and the
amend
math
health
further
insurance.
and the clerical errors.
And what about the proposed raise for those hours?
No.
The rest of the year?
For the
Or
rest.
until-
Up to the first year, yeah, not in the amended one. So do you, either of your groups want to discuss it or vote amongst yourselves, or?
We don't have much choice on the health insurance, it is what it is.
Yeah, health insurance and that,
Guess from the mayor's standpoint, are we okay with, if a raise is indicated, can it wait till July first? Then we'll second that motion then.
okay? So you got, all your mayors voted aye then? Yep, okay. School boards?
We're in agreement
Don't
with,
work that.
we're in agreement with the supervisors and the.
Yes, you got one over here.
They're in agreement?
Yes.
Okay, but the mayor seconded. So it's moved that the budget amendment will be approved with just the health insurance and the correction in the wages. Okay, next we'll move on to the assessor's proposed budget. Okay, you want to give us your spiel on that?
So, I have the proposed budget in front of you. We didn't go over the parcel count comparisons or valuation comparisons or population comparisons. I'm happy to go in depth here. But when you look at these calculations, it shows that fiscal year, 26 by population count, the average salary was 103,428 for the assessor. The average number of staff for these, like counties with similar parcel counts is 4.33. So, we are doing more with our staff than our comparable counties. We have a larger assessed value. We do have a smaller population, and then we have a larger taxable value, but, and then I just did a kind of a comparison with a 3% increase, if that were the choice for the 27, which would be 106, 530, 430, 43. Did I get into that too quickly? I apologize. Does anybody have any questions on the parcel count data? And like I said, these are parcel counts to where that's what we have. That's how the assessments we send out. Those are the valuations that could be from tested. That's a pretty big number. It's a lot of data.
Back after, Sarah, you said on the wage you used a 3% at 106?
I did a 3% there at 106, yeah.
But that, is that based off of yours?
No, with
If we would have got that last,
6, so based on this valuation, the average of those assessors is 103,428.
okay,
And if you did a 3% off of theirs, if that's what they get from their conference board, it would be 106, 530, 430. I was just trying to make.
Their average. Yeah.
That's the fiscal year, 25, let's start 25. So I was just trying to make it a little easier so people didn't have to do a lot of math while we were here.
I didn't want, I thought you were comparing it to your current salary. Okay.
That's
So
compared
Doc-
to the, no, that's compared to the comparisons of like counties for parcel count. The next one we look at is valuation, because when you have higher values, you have higher risks, you have more protests, you have all of those things. So I did my comparison with our like counties here, and the average 26 or fiscal year 25, 26 assessor salary for that group is 109,128. And if those people got a 3% increase, that would put it at 112,401.84. And then population wise, if you look at those, as far as the population, and those are just for our numbers here, that average is 102,369 for like assessors. With the comparable of the 3% for the next year would be 105,440.26.
You have somewhere that even shows the tenure of these assessors? Have they all been there 20 years?
No. I know Marshall's been there 4 years. Boone is 1 year.
You do have that.
I can get that for you. I was just going off the top of my head here. Recent hire, I think was VPN in county with no assessor experience at 105, which I don't have that data here, but I can absolutely get that for you. Did anybody have questions or?
You said the one that, just hired him for $105,000 with no experience. Pretty stupid. Just saying, how do you evaluate somebody when you don't even have a clue if they can do that job and start them at $105,000?
I happen to know this person personally.
I'm not trying to.
No,
pick
no,
on that
no,
person, but
no, I'm saying.
if any of us in
I want
business, we're
more
like, okay, how do we hire somebody that don't know, we don't know what they know?
Yeah,
So
so,
I'm saying experience, it's still a big teacher.
yes, absolutely. So he does have experience within the assessor's office, just like Sarah did. He just did not have assessor experience, and that's how, a lot of these salary surveys are based. Yeah.
Moved up.
Yes. Oh, no, he actually did switch counties in this case.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Any other comments?
I guess I'll go. And this is all within the expertise in your office is all under two. This year, you're asking for just yourself at $27,740 raise. Where the deputy would be at $22,950 raise. And for an office manager, $9,900 raise. That's a $60,594 in 1 year. That's a full-time job. So instead of, and if you guys are doing a lot of overtime, what if we didn't do any raises and maybe discussed getting another person so we can avoid overtime? I mean, that's a real number. $60,000. That's a really good number to a starting wage. And I'm not suggesting that we do that. I'm not for larger government. I'm trying to make sense of how we can justify or even ask for these kind of raises. And I was among one of the people that interviewed for this position. And I do remember, yes, and I remember last year making that comment, getting certified or whatever. I do remember making that a thing that you hadn't been certified yet. But I do think tenure does have value as well. And to your point, listening to what we did as supervisors, I'm gonna have a hard time doing it any different than what we did for everybody else this last year. In my opinion, if you supervisors want to discuss in a different way of how we feel about the raise, but in my opinion, I'm stuck at the $1,800 because it's equitable. And we have people that have worked for our county for 26 years, and that's what their raise was this last year. But also, if you watched that movie, it was supposed to make it more equitable for our line staff, the people that sometimes got overlooked, and we're trying to bring up their money as well.
The thing
So it
of-
was a lump sum.
Yeah, basically the percentage thing always keeps this getting a bigger spread. And then the objective of this year's was to go and do the flat fee because the same dollar buys the same amount of beer for this guy or that person or bread or whatever you want to use. But I mean, all that does percentages do is just keep spreading that gap between that, just to back up.
2.8% cost of living, that's what COLA is. And for majority of the people, it was larger than 2.8. And for some people, it wasn't.
I do respect that, but I would like to say that those positions are already at the market value compared to their peers or closer to the market value compared to their peers. You know, if it wasn't me being your assessor, it would be somebody else. And I'm pretty sure we had this discussion last year that everybody else with a higher salary. And we did have the discussion about getting my certifications growing. I would like to say I've given the county 8 years. I do have some tenure here, maybe not as your assessor, but in that 8 years, I've learned a lot of the facets of government. Been the GIS coordinator, zoning administrator, working recorder's office, health and passports. I've done a lot for the county. I've been in a lot of code. I've had to do a lot of meetings, and everything I do, I put my full heart in, and I give it my all. So I would also like to say that to see this one not be at market value for the like peers and the like data, I feel like the data has been prepared and presented. I do have to have education. I had to pass, like I said, tests to even become your assessor. I have to continuously take tests. Every odd year we have our equalization with the Department of Revenue. The Department of Revenue said my data was tidy, that I did a great job. You know, obviously it takes 5 cycles for you to really get into it, but they were really happy with my data. They said it was tidy. Carroll County didn't get an equalization order. There was, I think, 30% of counties in Iowa that got equalization orders this year, and Carroll County wasn't one of them.
Sarah, I don't, this is not a personal
Oh, no.
thing. This is definitely a position thing that I'm saying. I think you do a phenomenal job at what you do, but I also think we have people throughout the county that do a phenomenal job as well.
I'd like to say something. I think you do wonderful, and you showed me stuff that you caught and all that good stuff. The biggest problem I have, and this is nothing against our deputy, is just that we put a deputy at 85% right away. So if we propose that, and our deputy's making 95,000, it's more than what you make now. It's more than what our assessor was a year ago, you know, or a year and a half ago. Or within $2,000, and that doesn't go away. That just keeps climbing also, you know. That's just a lot of money for both of those, and $60,000 raises and for 3 people in 1 year is unheard of, you know. Nowhere.
I do have the studies that the market is for all those positions in here. It was it's on your parcel counts, your valuation. We do have, you know, studies of where they're currently at this year, where they're going. You know, so I do have studies for there as well.
Sarah, and I will say that, you know, you're right, and some of them are above the market value, and that is probably our higher end people, the elected people. But on the most part of that whole total wage package, I would bet there's 50% of them, not 50%, maybe close to that upper bottom 50% that are not at market value. So that was the other purpose of the reason why we went to a flat wage. So I'm just, you know, you're right on part of it, but wrong on the other part, as far as I'm concerned.
And is your overtime?
Salary ranking going in fiscal year from 38 to 35 to 89 to 75. I do feel like there should be some sort of renderance for the proposed candidate, maybe try to close that gap for the county.
Your overtime hours, is that based on the 37.5-hour work week or 40?
37 and a half hours like everybody else.
37.5 is just courthouse, right? Yeah.
Any other comments?
The last thing I'll say is, anytime we've dealt with something similar to this, maybe not salary, but raising, let's just call it water usage or water rates, or anything that's been too low for our town, because it has happened. Water, trash, you name it. Because of the old council basically leaving it in limbo for so many years, kind of in the same way what we did versus going a big jump and scaring all the residents. You know, you slowly you did incremental raises. So I do believe, Sarah, that in my opinion, I think jumping from there to get to where you want to be at that average or, don't remember the word you're using, but, I don't think it's a great idea to do it all in one shot. I think absolutely needs to get there. But I think in a couple of years, we went from, in our town, we went from losing money on certain things because of lack of, I say it all the time, lack of foresight. Our council that was on there just didn't look forward. And I think if you just continue to do what you're doing, I think it'll get up there, but it's just not gonna happen. I don't believe it should happen in 1 year.
We sort of do the same thing with water rates, sewer rates, wages. We try and same way, we didn't keep up for years. And now it's a catch-up thing and not, we do believe you're worth that, but the one-shot deal is, that's pretty hard for people to swallow.
And I don't think that, I wouldn't worry about, I'm not gonna worry about what people are gonna say, you know, well, we're raising the, her salary to this in 1 year. I mean, people are gonna complain if you raise it, doesn't matter what it is. I just think the correct thing to do as everybody running the county is, even yourself, I mean, you want the best for the county. And you know, so incremental is the best way on anything you do.
And then right last year, we gave you a pretty good chunk of change last year, we did. And, we can't do that every year. But I said we just can't, but we'd love to, because I think you do a great job, but.
Last year was 13%.
13%.
It was 10,000.
Any other comments?
Yeah, unfortunately, she's doing a good job. I mean, she probably is under where she needs to be, but to throw her $1,800 is not gonna get her.
I'm not saying that was not my recommendation. I was
I'm
just
saying,
reiterating what
if
we did.
If we follow that same mentality, we're not incentivizing her to continue to learn and grow and be better and stay. Because it was, how many assessors ago we wouldn't give the guy a raise and wouldn't get a raise, we left. I mean, then we went through, I mean, that was, and we said, you're not getting a raise for 2 years. And that wasn't the right way to do either, I mean, in hindsight. So I'm just saying, I think she deserves a raise, but I'm the guy that comes here and fights for the people to get a raise, and there's no way I'm voting for a 20 or 30% raise. That's not happening. But to get some of that in there, I think is justified. I mean, that's just my opinion. Because we certainly don't want to have to go back and have you decide, I'm going to move to Crawford County and be their next assessor or whatever. Now we got to hire somebody, and we know that it's just not everybody's going to be qualified for it. We're going to have to hire new. I mean, so at some point we need to, you know what? I don't want to sit here all night, but at the same time, we got to do the right thing. So we need to move this here forward a little bit, decide, you know, what can we give them that's not completely outrageous, but gets them closer so that each year that we're closing that gap, and we're also not, you know, giving them 15% every year to get them in line with the norm or the average compared to all the other department heads. So if somebody's got an idea. Sounds like we're talking about the same thing. You need to get there, just not in 1 year.
So last year, somebody correct me, because I don't have that percentage, but last year was 13%.
Yeah,
And
$10,000.
And then this year it's a 41% increase.
That's the ask.
Would it be fair to maybe look at the outgoing assessor's salary, since that was the salary back for fiscal year 24? I'm just asking. That would be, she was at 92 to 73 when she left,
How long was she here for?
or 97 to 73. She was the assessor. She was here for 8 years.
Maddie, can you put that on the screen, please?
Huh?
I'm asking Maddie to put it on the screen so everybody can see what the outgoing assessor was.
How does it work if we say, no, that's not gonna work, then what's the next? Do we come up with the number?
I come up with a number tonight.
Supervisors are, we all, so 2 out of the 3.
Yeah, we need to come up with a number that we're gonna put in that budget. Cause then once that budget's done, then she has to file for publication. So, and the thing is,
So what-
she's a percentage yours, but the office manager's not. Yeah.
say
So
that again.
that's,
If Sarah gets 13, or this,
She-
what she's asking for is 14.4.
yeah.
The
but-
deputy would get the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is if whatever we give her, she gets a percentage of that. Then we'll have to deal with also the office manager, which is actually a new employee. And I don't know what your intent is there, if that was gonna be how much probationary time there was or.
There would be just salary.
Okay,
So I'll just recap for everybody. What she's asking, she's at 85. The previous assessor was 97, 273. That's a 14.43 raise.
The only problem with that math is that's her ending salary, but she had 8 years experience. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's, if you had come in with this comparable amount of experience, we probably would have started you higher, and this probably wouldn't be an issue. It's unfortunate, but you know, you go down here and look at the sheriff. The sheriff, his starting salary, well, he was already a sheriff, I mean, a deputy. So it's not like he came in and had to be all trained. That's why he came in at that same price.
well,
Basically,
and
because-
by code, when he took over sheriff, he takes over the salary of the previous sheriff. It's the same way with the auditor, treasurer, and recorder. That's by code.
There that
But being she's appointed, it's just.
She's appointed.
So.
Yeah.
This is, honestly, this is never fun coming to this meeting.
No.
There's a lot of hands in the pie and.
I've always told people, this is the worst part I hate about this job is setting salaries.
But I'll be honest with you, even as a supervisor, we make 36, whatever the number is. I do not think a newly elected supervisor should be making the one that's going out. Because I'll be going into my 3rd term. And tell me I deserve the same amount of money going into my 1st term when I knew nothing. And I think that with every elected position,
What term are you
all of
on?
them.
17?
Jane doesn't talk about.
I'm on my 25th year, if you want to know.
6th.
Even
Say
there,
20.
spoke in. Thanks.
Hey, so is there any recommendations?
Maddie, you can take that down now.
I don't think we want to,
I think beat than us, but we're actually gonna be a little more generous, so where do you guys wanna start? Let's cut to the chase.
No, let's hear what you guys say.
I mean, 1,800, we've got the precedent set for that already.
and that was for 1,800 was everybody.
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 Elected officials.
that was whether you got over 100,000 or you got 35,000.
I mean, the goal is not to punish the
But
employees. but
also
to
the
prosecute.
supervisors got zero.
Yeah, we froze ourselves the last 3 years.
3.
Since you've been elected, that's why we've had to do that.
Yeah.
How much is 2.8% of the current salary?
What's that?
What if we went, halfway to between 85 and 97? Or where's that, 6-7%?
A little over 7%.
220 is 22.
What would that make it?
Short of 2,400.
That's gonna look, you know, not as favorable for everybody else, but at the same time, you know, like you said, you got a lot more people here to try to census on. That's what I would say. We do somewhere about half of that.
Between 85 and 97, you said?
11,000, that's $5,500.
So half of the difference between 85,000 and 97, 273 is 61 right here and.
6136, 6136.50.
Yep. So, sorry, I didn't make them pretty or anything.
You already did.
This is the two.
What's that?
So that's what everybody else got, so that they wouldn't be included in that $1,800.
So the 80. Sorry, let me fix this.
Well, here.
Color. So 2.8% raise comes to 87,380. Halfway, half of the increase between 85 and 92, or 97 to 93 is another $6,136. When you add that to the 85,000, you end up with 91,136.5.
I just throw that out there to get the ball rolling somewhere, you know, that's just one guy's opinion.
I'm sticking with 1,800, that's my stick, because the other ones they've got longevity there, that's me. So, that's a 2.1% raise. You guys make the final call, but I'm sticking with 1,800, so.
Well, is that a motion? Are we gonna do the motion between the supervisors?
We can do our own, yeah.
Yeah, or you guys can do that, come to a consensus and then throw it out there.
Did you make it a motion between the?
1,800.
Unless you want these guys to talk or.
We can.
Yeah, was there still a motion? They can decide what, if they want to second it or not.
I'm not that far.
But make sure you talk loud enough because we're in a public forum.
It's the 2.8, that's just.
That's cost of living.
Right, then, so your 1,800 is your average of.
That's what every count, that's what 120 employees got basically.
Some of the higher, 500 people got a 1.8% rate. That's, if you average everybody, it'd be 75 bucks, so each was 2.8 average. Some people.
There, is that legal? Be like.
4.1, so because they had a lower salary, so yes.
They're talking about.
Yeah, okay, behind that was to help us. This is what you're about.
Not like any elected official or anything like that, but if you're in 2.8%.
Compared to
That's kind of where that mentality, but if you did the 1,800 flat, that's a 2.1, just to give you.
Wages that here, they know what.
I'm just sticking with 18.
You guys can discuss.
That was like.
But you're talking.
The recorder, the treasurer.
You know, honestly, that's all, 5,000, that would give the deputies 85% on that, so you're talking getting $1,000
A lower salary.
out of a budget of $200,000 wage budget is not.
I'm not saying, I'm not either, I wouldn't be okay going. This one, yes. Sure.
Absolutely. There are things that you can do, though, you know, if there's.
When we.
I don't think the third one.
People are protesting their taxes or whatever, but litigation.
This is the.
We do a better job, he does a better job.
You're correct with the 85% of the other person is the way 85%
You got a different one?
Yeah, I got some.
Okay,
I do want to know.
are we in agreement here?
I think we made the motion.
Hard time.
We gotta wait on one of them.
Oh.
Well, I mean, but we should, we're all in favor of that.
Between,
Yeah.
what it paid, just don't feel, I don't ever personally feel bad for that person, you know, on that, like, you know, within the first 6 months, they know they get a raise or, you know. On that, the one that just got hired. No,
We could do an auction here.
License. Certified. And so, yep, yep. And then her 18 months of her getting certified, everything is out, so, you know, she is certified.
I thought. More to it. And then. I think everybody's. So if they're. That would be up front. So we don't have to go through the cheeky 5 years.
They make 75%. We, that's I mean, I get it, there's some that have a lot to do with all. I mean, I feel like that's.
My maps.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. I didn't know until today. Which is probably good.
Oh, yeah.
No way.
I think it was in around too much smoke last night.
JD, right, so that's good. Walking on the square. I'm not totally. But I'm just.
When you guys get ready, let me know.
I mean, there's a motion on the floor, it should be so. It's a yes or no, and then maybe somebody else will make a motion.
Oh, I see, okay, sorry.
So that's why.
You guys ready?
5 minutes.
We're still working.
Discussion, Robert's rules. I'm gonna use the restroom. Is that okay, Chair?
Go for it. Go for
The
it.
two of us already did without asking.
You already did, yeah.
I'm respectful.
Yeah, right. So when you gonna postpone the trip till?
No.
Thank God, I moved my season.
Yeah, February 15th it ends.
Oh, were you hunting?
I was going to.
Oklahoma, they don't want. I supposed to leave for Oklahoma, so this is late, and they're getting a bad storm. This is always.
Where's you gonna hunt? Well,
What's your son do? Basketball player, the rest of what's he does? The rest of it do? Awesome. How old is it? Fourth grader. Cool.
okay, I'm calling a 2-minute warning.
Good job.
I'll watch it right here.
Good job with it.
Yeah, but- I'll have it.
No, thank you.
I don't want to be here till midnight.
Well, that's why I think Jeff Andover's saying, let's figure out something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the tough spot. Those guys, it doesn't. So you just gotta call for the vote on.
Hmm?
You just have to call for the vote on that.
Been a motion. There's not been a second.
Ice fishing this weekend. The ice out there should be after tomorrow. They go do some ice fishing, right?
They're still calling warning up Okoboji.
I heard they called off DMAC for tomorrow. Some of the schools did.
They did one of these years ago. Hopefully they school here tomorrow.
Or just unless the ice is this thick.
Okay, let's reconvene. I call the 2-minute warnings up. All right, there's been a motion by the supervisors at 1.8. Is there a second?
Yeah, 1,800.
1,800, excuse me. Too many goddamn numbers in my head here lately. Is there a second? If there's not a second, is dies for lack of second? Is there another motion?
Question real quick, are we just discussing salaries or is this our whole budget?
Just the salary
Okay.
of the assessor.
And the deputy gets.
Yeah, the
85.
deputy that falls with it. So as I said, the mayor's made a motion, and there was no lack of a second, so that died.
Supervisor
Or supervisor, excuse me.
made a motion of 1,800.
Got some of them old hats up. Is there another motion?
That's one less thing that they, whether they do or not, one less thing they have an axe to grind about, you know? I got plenty of vacation like that, you know, I get a hand at Christmas or whatever, but that's not even what I want. Yeah. I mean, whatever, you know.
What are we talking about, Christmas?
Huh?
Guys quit giving away hands, that's what I heard.
Yeah, me too. I'm waiting for mine.
I would.
Would you say yes or no? If we were to vote? We're saying three, would you say yes or no?
No, ours is red. No one would second.
Mayor's will make a motion to do a 3% raise. Whatever that dollar amount is, I mean.
3% on 85,000?
Yep.
I can tell you here shortly.
That's 2,550.
$2,550.
Yep, it's 3%.
Is that a motion? Is there a second to that fact? Motion dies for lack of a second.
Make a motion for 1,800, can we do that? And then I'll just
Excuse me?
make another motion
Yes.
for 1,800.
18, oh, yeah, it can be made again,
Just by a different person.
just by different, school boards move for 1,800. Okay, is there a second?
Supervisor.
Second.
It's been seconded by the supervisors. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It'd be the mayor's opposed, okay. Now you're the one vote.
I do have
You
to
all-
get those all individually. If it's
Right. The supervisors was all 1,800. School boards,
This isn't just one vote, one vote, one vote?
Now it is, yeah.
And then, but when you get the majority.
Oh, gotcha.
When it's not unanimous.
school boards was, how was your vote? All in favor of 1,800? Okay. And your vote is all nay? Yeah, raise your hands, who's, okay. There's two of them, three. Okay, the majority of supervisors was opposed. Okay, motion carried. So you'll adjust the budget for 1,800. And then, next thing I think probably what we need to do, there's really, it would be your office manager. I assume we'd have to look at that because he'd be down the road a year or a half year anyway.
Mhm.
So what have you got projected in there?
So I put the 55 in there because, I'm hoping to have him trained for appraisal work and doing the appraisal work and office manager work, where previously that office manager was just an office manager, didn't go out in the field and do residential appraisals.
Any discussion on that?
Yes. When was your date of hire?
1/2/26, so this would not take effect right away, July 1.
It would not.
It would not, it would just he would have a probationary period and then make sure he's trained before that goes into effect.
When would that probation period be up?
I think he's got classes scheduled for April. And then we would have field work, so could be August or September.
Let me ask you this there, to be simplified, would it be better that we just leave it as it is right now and come July, ask for amendment when you know when it changes?
So the amendment would be, you'd have all this extra money in.
That's
reserves,
true.
So to speak, because we don't have a general fund, so. with the-
Yeah, you're right. That don't work. That don't work.
Plus, we don't want to do an amendment on his salary.
We don't want to do amendment on salaries.
Can you do it when he is able to do assessor work in the field? With the raise would become effective then, or the increase? If his skills increased or his?
Mhm.
Based on a percentage a year, that 55,000?
So it's 55,000, it's a 6-month term or a 4-month term of his year.
Yeah.
So his salary is actually gonna be a lot higher than that?
Year.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
I apologize, I misunderstood you, so it would be prorated there. I do think he should still get an increase on July 1 like everybody else, it just wouldn't be the full 55, it would probably be the 2.8% that the rest of the full-time people got, if that makes sense.
No, the 1,800. 1,800.
It was 18 for
Yeah.
full-time, non-elected officials, or was it
Yep.
2.8?
Yep.
No,
1,800.
That time was 2.8.
Everybody across the board, 1,800.
I apologize, I misread the.
So on that 45-1, it would be $1,800 raise come July 1st.
Mhm.
And the 10,000 would be prorated to whatever month he starts.
But he starts doing the.
Okay,
Yep.
I just wanted to get clarity,
Yeah.
you know what you're.
No, it wasn't like boom, 55.
Yeah,
like
that's it,
it's
yeah.
prorated, yeah.
Yep.
Is that normal starting for,
Normal starting is anywhere between 57 and 60 for that position. So it's still under.
okay. Any discussion on that? Go ahead, Mark.
Sarah, when he was hired, one would assume that you would have laid out what your expectations were for Alex?
Yeah.
Okay, so he knew he was going to have to learn more and become an appraiser and
Yeah.
so on and so forth.
Mhm.
And he agreed to the $45,000 starting salary?
Yeah.
Was there any promise on your part that he would receive 55,000 the following year?
No.
That's my question.
Yes.
I didn't promise salaries
Okay.
because we weren't talking salary back when he was hired. Other than the actual starting salary.
So if he started at 45,100 and we did 1,800, it would be a 3.99% raise.
I think it's a little like that too. Some
Yep.
other ones,
Yeah.
that's kind of like-
No, I'm not saying it's
Oh,
bad,
no,
I'm just
no.
informing everybody.
Yep.
Because it's a lower.
Any other comments? Is there a motion then on that salary?
I'll make a motion, or the supervisors make a motion for 1,800 come July 1.
What about the others part of it?
Oh, I have
Just
a question.
1,800?
Can I give? can I ask you
Yeah,
a question?
absolutely.
Okay, so on this office manager appraiser,
Mhm.
and it's 45-1, was that approved by us before that?
Yes.
Okay, at that rate?
Yes.
Well, my next question is why, if the market value is 55,000, why do we start them at 45 and then fight this battle the whole way, always?
Because when I started the position was actually being paid like 37 or 38. It was much lower. And we did not do in-house appraisal. It was more of just the office clerk rather than office and appraising in the field doing residential construction.
Yeah. No, I get that. I just don't get why we keep beating our head like, well, why didn't we have this conversation then? And then instead of fighting this all the time, you know?
You did decided to put the appraisal in-house though, right? So this is driving it, the fact that you're gonna do appraisals within your department rather than hiring an outside group.
Yeah, the
So your
outside.
responsibilities are all gonna go up as far as appraisal duties, plus you're adding it to the office manager who didn't do it before.
Correct.
So he's adding value, so his salary needs to reflect that.
100% agree, but it was hired 30 days ago. So, or less than 30 days ago.
Okay.
So now we know in 30 days, we know we gotta go up 10 grand. I mean, why do we not have this conversation before? That's what I'm trying to say.
I missed the date.
Yeah.
You're right. You remember that. Okay.
You know what that's the only reason I'm asking this. Why are we're not even 30 days later and we're like, hey, that's where I'm asking.
Just put it in the budget because that's where I would like to see them be, because if he was hired right as an appraiser, like that is the hiring salary for those appraisers with the appraiser office experience.
And I totally understand what you're saying.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm just questioning, why did we not do this to right away? Yeah.
In my opinion, I'd like to see a freeze and then after a year, we can reevaluate. He's been hired for 30 days.
In my opinion, I think he still gets 1,800 like everybody else in July 1st.
That's what the motion is.
Okay, sorry.
If we, the supervisors agree on it.
So, yeah. That's fine with me.
Second that.
Who was the second? Cool. Okay.
Okay. Is all the school boards in concurrence with that? Okay. How about the mayors?
You gotta call for the vote first.
But, well, yeah, maybe, whoa, wait, first, let's just do this. Let's call for the vote. Maybe that takes care of it all. All those in favor, or is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary.
Aye.
Me,
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, thank you.
And there's two of the mayors.
Yep, I got.
The only reason I say that is next year when we come back here,
We're gonna be doing the same.
I think this
I almost said a naughty word.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's get to the budget. What else is there? There's no, is there any, you don't have any big,
Big down there, legal and court costs, with the capping of the budget, we moved that up because we don't know what the future looks like with those big court cases. Each appraisal for a big box store can come in $10,000 to $20,000. I've got another assessor who spent $114,000 recently on court cases, defending the values. The reason that legal and these appraisals for these tax reps that protest values and, go into tab and district court is that they're bringing in their specialty appraisers. And then we also need a specialty appraiser. They write about 140-page document for these legal battles, and they go over math years. Why would we want to fight these legal battles? Because that is hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue, up to millions of dollars of assessed value that could be reversed. If we don't have the money in the budget to fight these, then we have to pick and choose what's worth fighting and how much money assessed value we're willing to lose.
okay. And you lowered the Vanguard, which is good. What about, and you have dues and memberships is up $2,200?
Yep, so the associations that were no longer charging dues and members, or dues are now charging. They don't have those values yet, so I'm assuming they're probably gonna be anywhere between $450 like the rest of them that have gone up. So I put it there to account for whatever dues they come in this year.
Office and equipment, you got an increase there?
Yep, so if you see that this year I've already spent $4,279 on office equipment and furniture. $2,000 would basically cover one computer if it died. I know that I need a replacement for my computer this coming fiscal year, so that would cover that as well as if anything broke down.
The Vanguard annual service,
Yep,
is that where we're spreading it out more?
so that
So we're gonna take over.
$130,000 there, we're currently paying for a project.
Yeah.
And it's coming out of there, so not all of the value for that project will be collected this year. Some will be collected next year, because the project's delivered in 27. So this is what I'm guessing we're probably still gonna owe, if I've underguessed and we don't pay as much this year as I anticipated. We might have to have a budget meeting to pull it from the reserves, because we do have that as a designated reserve value because we're saving for it. So we would have those values as a designated reserve to pull up if they don't spend as much as we thought they were going to this year, and then we have to put it in, since it's a big process, big project.
Your vehicle maintenance and fuel.
Yeah, we talked about this last year, we're getting a new vehicle. So we previously, prior to last year, we're never saving for a vehicle. We put $5,000 in the budget last year. And it was my understanding that we were gonna get a vehicle this year because of the difference in salary. I think it was discussed last year during our budget meeting. This covers a new vehicle as well as any sort of maintenance, gas, anything like that. I know that the number right here in the 2025 year to date only says 259, but I just paid like $700, almost $800 bill, because we needed new brakes and rotors or something like that recently.
Swear that's making a different noise every time we get it.
Yeah.
Is that four-wheel drive or two-wheel drive?
So it gets stuck in the snow, so that you can't automatically change it to four-wheel drive. So I'm assuming she's a two-wheel drive or
Full-time four-wheel drive.
full-time four-wheel drive. Oh, we have a car. Sorry.
I sold it.
Oh, I apologize. I wasn't part of it.
It's a
but-
4x4.
Okay.
So you're planning that for this year. I would say after this point, this is a suggestion, there's nothing needs to be acted on. But I would maybe put some money away each year and do a capital thing.
So if you look at the two blue notes here, you'll see a left and a right column for 26, 27. That shows what futuristically, so next year in the budget for Vanguard for the projects that is signed for residential 2035, 2037. That would be the $235,000 we need to save in the budget next year. And then I did throw another $5,000 next year. Like I wanted the board to see that because next year I would like to make sure that those are still added to the budget. So we don't have to have big jumps, because we can't sustain big jumps. So I would like to spread those out over the years. And that's what I started, doing last year.
Any other questions on the budget?
I have a question on education and training, tripling in 2 years, up to 15. Are those required classes or what is?
So
It went from in 24, 25, it was 5,000, now it's up to 15.
Mhm. So
And I know you're gone a lot of trainings, but I'm just,
so per state code, your deputies and your assessors do have to have tested and non-tested hours of training. In that education and training, that also includes your hotel because those are not local classes. They're usually week-long classes in Des Moines or Cedar Rapids or Cedar Falls. And like everything else, hotels are going up. I can't predict what those rates are. But we do have required education for Iowa code. Sending Alex to some classes for some residential. So that is, like I said.
and
that's
2 years
the
ago,
funds.
the mileage of Mills was 500, now it's 5,000. I'm just looking at those two, just,
And that 5,000 was last year as well. And that was just to account for if we have to use our own personal vehicle in any way, shape or form. Then we pay mileage and then meals when the person is out, then they have meal.
One thing I struggle with here, and I know we've added 2 employees, but my first year as supervisor was 23, 24, and the total budget was 398,000.
Mhm.
And since then, we've added $580,000 to it. By my year 4, which will be July 1st, start year 4, but, it's just a lot. It's a lot of money.
And everything has gone up. All of our programming has gone up. Our postage has gone up. You only had one person going to classes previously, and that was the assessor for their statutory duty. And now we have multiple.
No, I know you have multiple people and multiple things. It just to wrap your head around a $600,000 increase.
it's 160%.
It's hard. It is extremely hard when our job is to be as fiscal.
Mhm. I do believe that the increases do speak for themselves here. When you look at current expenditures.
One thing,
Well, one thing, Mike, I'll note back, I think, and I'm just noting this. If you look back on that Vanguard, that year, they only spent 30,000.
yeah,
And I think
Okay,
it's,
so
it was on the end of the
Add,
invitation.
add 100 to that, Gene.
Yeah, I know.
We're still 500,000 more.
But if you look the next day, next year was, and I lost my mind here.
You know, here we're, as a group, we're trying to be conservative on a raise at $1,800, but we're 580,000 more in 4 years, guys. That's
Where the hell did I see that?
That's why I was questioning the expenses and.
100%.
the
I am
mandate-
too. It's just, it's,
I know, sir, you're gone a lot to training. That's what my question was. How many are mandatory as far as? Or are some of them self-betterment, or are they mandatory classes to? Now that you're fully credentialed, I would think that would almost go down, the travel.
The travel? Or the education?
I'm sorry, education.
I mean, as mayors, you guys would have the same questions on your budget, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Sure, but
There's a whole
when did
other-
we complete the last residential?
That was. in
Well, that's the
2016.
point I was making. That Vanguard, there's a high and low in it.
The last time this was done, before that, Gene wasn't a supervisor. I mean, we waited 27 years to do an appraisal.
Yep.
So over those 27 years, if they didn't fill out a building permit and somebody didn't drive by and catch it, people were paying for an old farmhouse and no barn, and when they come up, there's a brand new house and 2 new barns and whatever, so we lost out on all those people paying their fair share, so that everybody else's taxes were up because they got hit. So I'm hoping that this money that we're spending in the last few years, and the fact the budget's going up, that we continue to spend that money with the anticipation that we get fair assessments for everybody, accurate assessments, so that we don't necessarily have to levy any more money, but we're spreading that out towards, so it's fair to everybody. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think we ran on a really thin budget for a long time because we weren't doing the residential or the.
Well,
commercial.
Mike, if you look at the 25-26 budget, that was at 855,000. That's because we come in that cycle where we use Vanguard again.
Yes.
And that, they were, at that point, there's times they'd do it and then they wouldn't do it again, like he said. So there's a cycle there. That's part of the reason. I'm not saying that, yeah, this budget's getting a little fat, but I'm trying to justify why some of it did happen.
When you look at, some of these things, we pay $1.2 million every 3 years for those aerials that are on our website, that are used by our comm center, that are used by, anybody that needs those. So I mean, you have a contract there, that's that $38,000. Where I'm trying to avoid big jumps is saving for these projects in the future. That's where, there's $235,000 being saved for that project for future. I
Speaking.
think I have that already scheduled out through 2050, so that way it avoids any hikes or spikes
Sarah.
with the projected 4%.
I do have the number that was discovered last year of no building permits. It was $1.63 million.
Yeah.
On that was,
Not building permitted that we.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's to your 27-year thing of people who had to apply for a building permit that they didn't get penalized, but that's the, not at the assessed value, that's the taxable
Right,
valuation.
so I mean, so that means I'm paying more
Mhm.
because the levy is what it is and they're spreading it out amongst everybody else. And as I said, if everybody pays their fair share, it's and it's accurate.
Mhm.
That's kind of the transparency we should be looking for.
Any other questions?
I just want to make note to our 5 supervisors that every line item has gone up on that budget. Every single one of them.
Yeah, I questioned the ones that I thought were jumped too much.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, so we have come to agreement, I think, of the budget and with the change of the wages. That to be $1,800 across the board. And is there a motion then to, I guess, what we need to do is set the public hearing. By setting the public hearing, we're saying, we're gonna put this out to public hearing. There'll be a public hearing. Then it will be approved after the public hearing, if it is. Yes, Mark? The proposed budget would be what is here, less the wages would be at 18.
But we haven't voted on that?
No, you don't, you set the public hearing, then you vote after the public hearing.
I think we do. I think.
Yeah.
Give a
tentative
approval.
Okay, we can do that. Motion and approve the budget. For you.
Yep. That's what I was writing.
So Mike, are you happy with those line items or do you want to trim some back? I'm hearing you say you want to trim some back.
Absolutely.
Well, we can't have every single, yeah, I'm with him.
Every single line item's up, every single one.
Oh, then I misunderstood what you said earlier then. I thought you.
No, you're fine.
So would you have recommendations, Mike?
I think we need,
Should we just go line by line?
line by line, I really think so. So Sarah, can you start going down through and explain why each one again, please? And we could do it. So like obviously you gotta start at, general office supplies. FICA, IPERS and health insurance does not change.
So general office supplies, we've already gone over, we're halfway through the year, we spent $1,004. We take our water out of there, there's general office supplies, your post-it notes, those things come out of there, so we did put it up, everything's cost are up.
Well, that if we do get into trouble, why Lord, we can always have an amendment, right?
Yep.
Not, well,
Unfortunately, the assessor's office
Assessors
doesn't
can't.
have the general fund.
They have reserves.
Okay, all right.
So with this 2%
My bad.
cap, whatever you're making this budget as, so like if we had a $400,000 budget, the 2% cap only allows us to add $8,000 to that, essentially. So if we have a 5% increase on health insurance, which was proposed this year, that would be $3,300 of that $8,000 that the assessor's office can go up. So then when you look at your FICA, your IBERS, any of your programming going up 10 to 12%, then we're not gonna have the budget or sustainability to afford our programs, or we're not gonna have that for anything there. So that's
But
where,
now your health insurance did not go up. You did not.
not this year,
Yeah,
but
okay, I wanna
if
make
it
sure.
comes next year and it's
Yeah.
at 5%, that's 3,300. If this was a $400,000 budget for round numbers, that's $8,000. That's almost half of your $8,000 your budget can grow. To put numbers in realistic form.
All right, continue on. Down the line.
Next one is your programming data processes. Whenever you have programs, they go 10 to 12% every year.
So what caused the jump in
That's 10,000 though, yeah.
24 and 25, why did, well, we did almost double, from 28 to 45? What, was there something different that year?
There was that parcel program, where the GIS and assessor's office shared a fee, for the parcel fabric.
So then from 36 going,
That's where I did the 28 to 36, because I took out the 45,750 since that was a project.
but what I'm saying is it's going from 36 to 46, $10,000 raise. Where do you get that? If it goes up 10% would be $3,600.
And, looking at also the printer for the office.
Which I would put in office equipment and furniture, I'd say, right?
Okay, so you want me to move the printer down to the office equipment and furniture line?
Is that the $5,000 printer you were talking about?
So I have office equipment and furniture. I was putting a computer there, but I also do need a printer.
I just want to put in there what programming and data processing is gonna cost,
And unfortunately, I don't know that right off the top of my head.
but 10% of, that's a 25% increase you have on there. So I mean, is it 10 to 15? Can we get away with 40,000 in there?
I would be putting $40,000 in there. Like I said, we've already spent 28 to 46 and we're only halfway through the year.
36.5, Mike, is 9.5%, so that's right on target.
That 36.5 is on target, you're saying?
It is 9.5%, so yeah, that's your 10%.
So, so 40,000 instead of 46 work?
Official publications, we're at $350. Bumped it up to 500 because I'm all for supporting local papers. I don't know how much stuff I'm going to have to publish in the papers. Right now with just my last year's amendment, it was 174 to publish that.
Let's go ahead and go back down for that one if you're all right.
$350.
So this one, I do understand postage goes up like, and it's gonna
Crazy,
go up
yeah.
again, but did you have to do was there with Vanguard, you had to do an extra mailing or,
We have assessment notices that go out every March.
and then plus with the increase in postage, probably, okay. I don't really know what to tell you there because that, or anybody what to do there, because that's a tricky one.
You never know what's gonna change to it now.
So, okay.
Did you go over that 2,500 every postage and mailing? It stayed the same
This is only your second budget,
every
but
year?
Yeah. I have to go back and look and see if they've gone over previously, but this year there was. We went over, there was no, notification, the machine hadn't been that extra money in a while, so I wasn't expecting a $6,000 bill.
it was 2,500 all the way back to 21. So I have old ones pulled up.
Yeah, it's ten. They move over half of them.
Employee mileage and meals didn't change from last year to this year, budget wise.
24,
It did.
was 500 at 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
And this year this year's already half over, you only spent 1,200.
As one person, because I was the only person on the budget for doing any sort of classes, so now we have 2 doing classes per statute and then 1 for training.
So I'd say if you triple, that's 3,600. Does anybody
Well, I'm confused which ones come out of education and training, which ones come out of,
mileage and meals?
Yeah.
Gym meals, if you drive your personal vehicle for any reason. And then meals for when you're at your
Education and training.
education,
Okay.
or, yep.
So 3,600.
3,600 work?
Next.
Telephone, we do have cell phones we use in the field because they connect to our laptop. That helps when we talk to the public and they give us a call back. So if you look in your packet, one thing I did do this year was I added these Post-its that we stick on people's doors when we knock, and they're not there, you know. People like to know when you're at their house, so I've gotten really great feedback from the public saying, hey, it basically says the date, your address, parcel number, we write all that in, why we were there, and if we need a call back. We did add that this year and they really enjoyed that, so. We also included the cell phone number there, and the cell phone will be a laptop for when we haven't used the internet.
So is that gonna increase from that 527, or is it still gonna be around $1,000 if you double that? We spent half that this year.
We didn't have the phones for the whole year.
So you have one. Does she have one too?
Yes, we both have them in the field.
Okay.
So you think that's pretty accurate?
I multiplied my current phone bill for the inner office along with the cell phone bill.
Vanguard stays the same.
Pictometry, we're ending one of our 3-year cycles for those aerials that we have, and we do a flight every 3 years, so we're getting new aerials this spring. This fall, they'll be flying our county, so then after they deliver those, we'll upload those on our website for GIS. There's also an Eagle View pictometry that can be used, but that's a $1.2 million contract every 3 years that the assessor's office covers.
120,000, you said? How mu, it's 40,000, so
Times every 3 years.
every 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
Oh,
Said 1.2 million, so I said.
my bad.
120,000.
I've been talking a lot. My mouth there. I apologize, but yes, it's 40,000, so 120. I apologize. Education and training, I did bump that up because I don't know what hotels are going to cost.
Is there any way
I
we
don't
could
know
look
what
at
the
maybe
training's
being,
Pardon?
is there a way you could look at maybe doing some more online instead of doing hotel stays, since a lot of things are via Zoom? I know I've got ones that I talk to people in Washington DC all the time and it's via Zoom.
Yep, so we have to be in class for the tested hours, and then the non-tested hours are typically when you go to like ISAC or those conferences, which are not available via Zoom. So an person that the Department of Management or Department of Revenue recognizes has to sign a paper and say you were there.
Education and training.
Which ones? I asked,
Call some of the extracurricular things that they're doing.
that's what I asked how many were mandated, and she said, well, she said there, you have to attend in person, correct?
For those classes that I
Yeah.
took, yeah, I am doing some on,
Like the HR thing and so on.
which HR thing.
Okay, I thought you were doing like an HR training. That is correct.
In my own free time. That's
So-
not
so it's not
associated
fine.
with the county.
Question is it fine?
No, the county isn't paying for that. That's,
Good.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue on.
The legal and court costs, I am anticipating higher,
Hold on. So you guys are okay with spending 15,000 on education and training?
I don't like it. And that's what I don't know. That's why, that was my question, was how many are required and how many of them are,
How much do you spend every time you guys go to training 4 times a year? What's that cost per person?
$1,000.
Probably,
You look, she bet 6,900 bucks on it this year.
Yeah.
I don't like it, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. If it's required, you know, and there's some, it just seems like a lot, you know, for education.
We got another one in there now too.
how many employees?
It's, yeah, I mean, it was at 5,000.
I can see what part of it's if she's trying to get him to be field assessments, probably.
Well, they all made it, I guess I don't know if they probably.
There's quite a few classes, oh, I'm so sorry. There's quite a few classes that were in the $300 to $400 range prior to the COVID.
Yep.
That have now jumped up to a $600 point.
Yep.
Just to attend the class.
Yep.
And then, the hotel on top of it and.
So my question to you is, how many of those are required? Like, we have a statewide supervisor, is it 3 or 4 times a year? I don't know.
Statewide is once, and
one.
then
Well,
There's a spring conference, fall conference.
okay, so there's 3 of them.
So
they're not required.
They're not required. I don't go to them. What? I know. Saving you guys tax money. So, sorry. So are some of them required, some of them not? Some are, and some aren't. Sorry. Can't talk.
Some are elective.
So you have to have a minimum number of hours. I'm so sorry.
You're okay, I'm choking you.
Yeah.
You do have to have a minimum number of hours.
Okay.
For the assessor position, it's 150 hours, 90 be tested. So those conferences that are attended are fulfilling some of the requirements, but not all of them. So then you do have to have additional tested hours on top of that.
Okay.
So Mike, I just looked ours up. We have $12,000 for all 5 of us in education and meals.
Yep.
Yeah, Mike doesn't go.
I don't go.
Yeah.
If ISAC could get my email right, I'd go, but but year 4, they don't know how to email me. So, Scott will fix that next week, but I just see it as a lot of money. I don't know if, we could cut that a little bit. It was at 5,000, jumped to 10, now it's at 15. We spent 6,900, or you guys have, so.
That was just,
Yeah.
so it was just one person so far this year.
Yeah, but you're out, you're graduated from your 18th month. However you want to say that. Education.
But there's still classes that I have to take for tested, non-tested, as well as those ISACs and ISA fall conference.
Okay.
But
Out of that
6,900, should go down a little bit, right? You're doing more to get to that certification.
Correct, a couple of those. But now we've got Alex starting, so I don't know what his are going to cost.
Who, is in charge of auditing, like, how she spends? For this, like, who just
See, I look at all the claims. I see them as they're processed.
You can go into the office, I think, you're part of the board, correct, and
Yeah.
do.
I mean,
look at-
anybody
The
can
public
ask
and the
as the public.
But I do see all the expense reports.
The same with, county stuff as well. What we do when we approve payables, it shows you a generic title. But if you went into the auditor's office and said, hey, I want to see such and such, it'll pull it up.
So do we come to settlement on this?
No,
No, I would like to cut it back a little bit. I'm not saying that, they're not using it. It's not great tools. It's just, I feel like if you have the money there, you might go use it more than on
You
some
need to pick
things.
and choose what's important. and
Yes,
Prioritize.
yes, prioritize it a little bit, which would be, maybe if you get it to that 12,000 area where you have 3 people going to it. That's just my opinion. You guys all can talk. I don't know. I feel like that's a give and take a little bit here.
So it goes back to just spreading it all out. I mean, you want to take every class this year.
Yep. Budget. But anybody else can talk? I don't care.
I agree with 12.
Anybody else?
It's not everyone you have to go.
so at 10,
12.
Okay, continue on.
Touched on legal in court as far as those cases, those appraisals being anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000.
Nick, what do you, $100,000? That's a lot of money.
It's a wild ass guess.
It is a
but
wild guess.
It's a high wild ass
Yes,
guess.
she said earlier about higher ones, but my one question is that we tax for that. And what sucks is you can't have an amendment, but if we don't use that, does that roll over?
It will go,
You know.
it's reallocated
Okay.
into the budget, so just because it's not spent doesn't mean it doesn't get reallocated
Legal
next
board,
year.
I don't think that's it.
I'm not okay with that.
To me, it's a huge number.
What the rolls
And I
over,
know-
if he doesn't use it, I mean,
Look at how many huge businesses you got in town. Walmart decides to go and challenge their valuation on their building. And they want to spend 20 grand to try to save 30.
They do every year. She had 39 people last year.
Understand.
Walgreens, Hy-Vee,
You got
Walgreens and Hy-Vee.
whoever owns the Pella buildings, I mean.
But
all
since
these different-
2021, it's been 5,000 or 25,005, 25, 25, and now we're at 100.
And this is looking ahead to potential legislation, so if it's not here and ready to go. And we have that cap and we need $100,000, we can't pull it out of thin air to defend these cases. So
Do we
for
have,
the sustainability, it would be nice to have it in the budget and then reallocate it next year into the same line item, if that makes sense.
have we, shame on me, I don't know this, but the 25,000 that we've been budgeting. Year to date, you have 0 on there. So do we have a reserve on that?
We've always just reallocated it back into the budget and used it so it doesn't grow. So it's like taking $20 and just putting the same $20 away. It's not growing. That makes
So there's
sense.
no
like,
balance in there.
That doesn't make sense to me, because if
Yeah.
we're budgeting for it every year, we should be having.
There should be a balance
25,000
in it.
somewhere. There should be a balance somewhere. Not blaming you, I'm talking out loud here, like. If you budget every year, that should be somewhere. You shouldn't have to re-budget for that.
So, this year was actually a even, this year is an even year. And so the property assessments typically stay pretty steady across that because there is no state mandated increase to market value. Some properties will see an increase and decrease to market. That's just how it works, but across the board, a lot of them do happen to stay the same in those years, so you see less appeals during that process. So then you'll spend less money in every other.
So what
year.
were those meetings I came to where everybody protested. What were those called?
For the board of review?
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
so those are.
But,
board of
but we
review.
didn't need you didn't need an attorney for those.
No, you're looking at PAB and district court for that.
Okay.
But that's what you're saying, you had 25 budgeted steady, you should have 25 in there, right?
That's where that answer, I guess, I don't think answered any.
Sorry,
I know what you're saying,
then-
that some years you're spending it maybe,
yes, and
but if we haven't yet,
it falls to the reserves. The excess falls to the reserves after, it's not spent.
and do we have any reserves?
We keep about 25% of the budget in reserves to cover the costs while we wait for taxes to come through. So July, August, and September, we don't have a huge reserve. It's literally 25% of the budget to cover the salaries and expenditures for those first 3 months.
So do you know the number in reserves? Is 25% of last year's? Or 25% of this year's, or?
It would be, I don't have that in front of me, but I can get it for you.
It would also include anything allocated towards Vanguard projects
Yeah.
that has been saved up.
Cause if we have 25% of 860,000, I think we're sitting okay. In my eyes,
I agree.
but if we have,
I think it was, when I did my budget, I think it was like 209 that was not allocated.
209,000,
That would cover your, so you take your ending dollar amount of what your budget is, and you take 25% of that. And then that is what you save in reserve to use while you wait for those tax dollars to come in.
so some of that is accruing from legal and court.
Essentially, it's just getting redistributed to put the same amount of money in every year.
And if we don't use it, then it,
We've just been popping the same dollar amount in the budget.
so it would be my recommendation to drop that 100,000 back down to 25 or 50, 50 I feel like is generous, but 25 or 50, especially if we haven't used it this year, knowing that we have reserves and you're only, 6 months to 18 months away from a new budget every time,
With the cap, we wouldn't be able to exceed $16,000. So if we need one appraisal, that's $10,000 to $20,000. So
you can't use your reserve.
we can, but if we have multiple, well, then when it comes time for the budget and the taxes, you see if you're running your reserve dry, you're not gonna have that the ability to pull it back up, essentially.
Sounds like you're using another line in there that says reserves.
Oh, I should probably put that right here, under the subtotal.
It normally has been.
But we can add where the reserves are for next year, next time.
So the public hearing.
Appraisal, who prepares the appraisal?
So we would hire an appraisal like a Mark Kennedy or somebody who does those big box ones regularly here in Iowa.
So going back to, 21, 22, 22, 23, down below it had, 21, we had 420,000 from reserves. 22, 23, we had 267,000 from reserves on the bottom of the budgets there.
That were pulled up and used. And I don't have that in front of me, so.
Yeah,
So they were pulled up and used.
Yeah.
In the budget.
That's what it says, from reserves not
Or was it
included.
23, you said?
21,
So
22,
20
22.
Vanguard project, so not allocated up there was money that was pulled up for a Vanguard project to do the residential.
No, that's right there.
No, that's future 120,000 on there. This is down
It's
the
in
bottom.
So saved for the future, but when you look at the payments, I'm guessing that right down there, she was indicating it's not in raising her budget because she had it in reserves. That would have been allocated for that project.
Can you live at 50,000?
If you had-
The other thing, you're talking about future legislation. We don't know if that's gonna go through neither yet. So you're kind of betting on the come. So I think we go down to 50,000 might be wise.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Has it ever happened that the government ran out of money?
I actually know of an instance where they're very close. So the county of Audubon, the assessor's office is at max levy. and their reserves are like $30,000. So not enough to cover between July 1st and when taxes are paid. They often have to supplement from the county budget in different areas, and then I don't know how they do it, but they are extremely close because of the valuation that the county holds and that sort of thing. They aren't able to efficiently fund the assessor's budget because of
I
the
have
67.
heard that.
Wow.
Thank God we haven't had that here yet.
Okay. 50,000, okay?
Yeah, you didn't, there's a lot of people in here.
Yeah,
Don't point
I
at
know.
me, I'm the only one chattering.
I'm chattering too.
Is that okay with everybody? 50?
Or it could go less.
Jeff, you're
I'm
kind
comfortable
of,
with-
no, or you got something to say?
No, we're nitpicking this budget, in my opinion, just, she put together a budget, yeah, I get the 100,000 from 25,000, that's a pretty big jump, but everything else is not overly out of line. She's been able to explain most of it. I mean, we keep trimming back and trimming back. I'd hate to have Carroll County's name in the paper because we ended up like Audubon and got nailed with a couple of things, and then we didn't have enough money to cover the budget. I mean, just seems kind of silly. I mean, I would rather be conservative on it and have a little extra in reserve than just saying that everyone what Mike's I mean, I'm okay with them, but I mean, how much money are we cutting out of this budget by these 3,000 here, $5,000 there? Let's say it's 50,000 out of a $900,000 budget. That's a pretty small percentage. I mean,
I'll take it.
if we don't say.
Put it on the counter, I'll take it.
It still goes in there.
50,000, I'll take it.
I mean, the money's there, but.
We're gonna save about
you
100,000
can't
here.
Go back and, what did you say? You can't go back and,
We can't ask for more. We don't have a bonding authority.
Okay.
We can't take from their general fund.
How many times the assessor came back, Gene, in 25 years and asked for money? And Carroll County asked, okay. Just wanted to make
But
sure.
there's always been a good reserve there too.
We don't know what's in the reserve.
Well, I'm just going by her. That should be on this budget form.
We have that for the public hearing, consider. Can that be added? What's in reserve for
Yeah.
the public hearing? Because we got two public hearings coming up, the proposed or the amendment and this one.
I respect your decision. My job is to not tax the people for unused money. And this is 580,000 more than the day I started. It bothers me.
you added up what your cuts are gonna be in minutes. There's no 800-pound gorillas in any budget.
Exactly.
Lots of 200.
Okay, continue on. Or did we get cut a figure?
I said 30, but I think everybody said 50.
50.
Down to 50? Okay, continue on.
Vehicle maintenance and fuel, we discussed new vehicle. Whatever. You guys want to put in this?
So he said in that 55,000 is some from the last several years that we've saved in the capital fund.
We started saving last year
Okay.
for $5,000, and then I used the difference from the budget of the salary from Cindy in there.
And that's for one vehicle and you're gonna trade in the other one?
Yeah, I haven't gotten any quotes yet for the trade-in. I don't know what that's gonna be in July.
So we have 5,000 in there and you're wanting 55, so 60,000 for a new vehicle.
No.
No, but it would just be the.
That'd be total
the total,
55.
like that.
Okay.
And that's a 1 year, like we're getting one, and then it's just a maintenance fund again after that, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
that's the idea of that.
So we're fine with that.
Sounds great.
Okay, continue on.
Office data processing,
It went up 3,000.
Yep, went up 3,000, looking at having our assessment notices mailed out. Kind of like the treasurer and auditor do for theirs.
So you feel that the 1,800 will go? We double, that's 3,600, and you think it's gonna go to 8,000?
So we've always budgeted $5,000 there. We still have to have assessment notices go out this year. And when I looked at the previous budget for the whatever bill, I think I got the treasurer's, it was like $4,000 that costed them to have mailers sent out this year for taxes.
What do you think, Mike? You're the one that's gonna talk. I'm gonna look at you.
Just tough to swallow. Sounds good.
Hmm.
Sounds good.
Okay, leave it at 8.
Dues and memberships, we've had some increase, we've had some not increase, we've had people that we don't have to pay dues and memberships right now stating they are going to give us what dues and memberships will be. We have not gotten those totals yet. I don't know if they're $350, I don't know if they're $400. So we just put the number in based on the information I had.
That's a 275% increase.
Yeah, that's right. I think you should put $730 and that's half the year spending $1,500. I think it'd be a lot more than that.
Well, there's 2 of us now rather than just one of us. Is it in their contract that we have to pay for to be a part of these associations that we do get discounts on classes now for, and the Assessors Association, our district for the assessor's office, we do have dues that are due.
They don't charge just per office, they charge
They
by
do
member.
per person. They don't charge per office.
Are your employees' contracts that you have to pay for those?
So for her being a deputy, then she would need to go to those and have those dues.
That's required for my position. I get,
Yeah.
just like in my profession, sometimes I have to pay. That's not standard for this profession, but I understand where you're coming from. I just wanted to. There is no contract.
Yeah, one more person in there. Double that's $1,500. I say no, I could have 1,000. That's what I think. I would do 2.
So 2.
2,000.
In office furniture and equipment,
She explained that already.
for computers and stuff like that, correct?
Yep.
Computer and a printer.
Okay. Right.
Any other questions? Your motion to go ahead and preliminary, have this set up to go to public hearing?
I think the supervisors can make that motion. We went through it with it.
With those changes?
Yeah.
Okay, been a motion by the supervisors. Is there a second? School board second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary? Looks like unanimous. Okay. So, date of the. When you're looking at.
You tell me. So 11 days would be February 2nd. 15 would be the 6th. 18 would be the 9th.
So are we gonna do the budget amendment hearing and proposed budget on the same day?
Yeah, I would say that's what you want to do.
So we'll need 2
That's what
motions.
we'll do.
So when do you want to do it? Noon hour? This should be a short one because there's nothing else.
He hasn't picked one yet. He's just trying to figure out, do we want it to be daytime or nighttime? Because we'll still need a quorum to be able to, after the public hearing, to approve.
Monday the 16th work? What would you prefer, noon or night?
Yeah.
What would you prefer, evening or noon?
It's with do noon, which is. That's what I hear.
Okay.
Calendar.
Calendar. So the 16th, does that work for you? 16th?
We're off, Dean. That's President.
Oh, it's President's Day. Okay, let's go the following Monday, the 23rd.
No, she said it's too far out.
Wait, yeah, when do you want me to publish it? So we'll just have to make sure we publish it correlating with it. So what day were you thinking? I apologize.
Let's do the 23rd.
The 23rd?
Stephanie, you'll be in NACO then.
Yeah. I can try it. No, I will not. I'd say it's something, but I won't.
Gene, do you want to do 18th on a Wednesday again?
Well, then we'd have to come up for supper. I was thinking after a board meeting.
Oh, okay.
And then that Tuesday, we got another meeting at noon.
Yep.
Okay, we'll do the 23rd at noon. Yep. Is there a motion to that effect? Supervisor so moved? Yep. Is there a second? Second by the school boards? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Okay, there's no other new business?
So
We do have a retirement in the board of review, so I just was asking authority if it's okay with the conference board for me to post a position for that.
Okay,
Gene, did we need two motions for 11 and 12 technically for noon? I think we need two of them.
okay,
So the first one we did was noon for the proposed
okay.
budget, and then
So we need another motion in for the.
the first one was amended.
Yeah,
So we did
amendments. So the
12,
second one need one for the budget. So
12:10.
Mayor so moved. Is there a second? Supervisor second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carried. Thank you for keeping me straight. Okay,
So it's gonna.
new
be
business is she,
12 and one at 12:10. Oh.
yeah. Yeah, I want to be 12, 10.
So we have a vacancy for the farmer on our board of review, so is it okay if I post it for applicants? Because then any applicants that come through, you guys would have to approve.
I think it doesn't hurt to put a notice out and see if we get some interest. And if anybody thinks of somebody that they might want to set on here, let us know, let them know.
The board of review, so in May, we have our formal appeals with the board of review, so our assessment notices go out end of March, beginning of April, no later than April 1st, and we do our informals in April, formal appeals go through the board of review, so they would hear all of the property owners and their appeal regarding valuation, classification, that kind of stuff, so they get all the data, they review it, and if they want to make changes, then they make the necessary changes if there is any.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn? So moved. Second by school boards. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Thank you for your time. Sorry about the length of this.
Good job, Gene.
Bullshit.
Upper than 40 minutes. Way to go.
A highlighter explode?
My red pen did.
Shit.
Yeah, and I didn't know.
It's not your- Trying to look.
Do I have-
No.
You just turn yours back on, Mark.
Oh, I did. Thank you.